Hi, this is Matt Polson. Today we're going to look at a video by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. And she's an ex-Muslim, ex-atheist, and now she's a Christian. And she was invited to speak at the Buckley Institute on May 9th, 2024. And the Buckley Institute was started by William F. Buckley, and the Buckley Institute is to promote intellectual diversity and freedom of speech. Please don't get confused. The Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. This is not talking about establishing a religion. It's all about a moral compass.
Every successful nation has to be based on more than a constitution and a body of law. There must be transcendental stories that unites citizens to an ethical as well as legal code. For the West, that was the Judeo-Christian story of the Bible.
Now let's have a quick Bible study with former Muslim, former atheist, Ayaan Hirsi Ali.
The biblical understanding of human sinfulness inspired the concept of limited state power or rule of law, emphasizing checks and balances to prevent tyranny. Isaiah 33:22. Governments are seen as instruments to maintain order and justice, but not as ultimate authorities.
Ayaan cites Isaiah 33:22 as she talks about the biblical concept of human sinfulness and how it led to a system of checks and balances. Let's read the verse. For the Lord is our judge. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. It is he who will save us. What does this have to do with human sinfulness and checks and balances? Interesting story. James Madison, founding father, noticed the three different roles in governing here: judge, lawgiver, king. Or, modified for the United States, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive. God can do all three, but human beings are fallible and corruptible and power-hungry. So if human beings are going to take on these roles, the roles need to be divided up into different branches of government. And there has to be a system of checks on the power of these branches. So, Ayaan is right.
The belief that all humans are created in God's image, Genesis 1:27, underpins ideas of equal worth, human rights, and dignity for all individuals, including the poor and the neglected.
Genesis 1:27. So, God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them.
Biblical teachings such as love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19:18, emphasizes care for others and fairness in governance.
Leviticus 19:18, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. If you think this means you only have to love people in your own group and not people outside your group, think again. Same chapter, verses 33 to 34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. But David, does this mean we have to be nice to jihadis? No, this isn't saying you need to be nice to criminals and people who are trying to subjugate you. This is saying don't mistreat a foreigner just for being a foreigner. This is about people like Ayaan Hirsi Ali, not about people screaming Allahu Akbar.
The Bible's distinction between God's sovereignty and earthly authority, Matthew 22:21, influenced the Western principle that the state should not overreach into matters of faith and conscience.
Let's read the passage. Matthew 22, starting at verse 15. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to entangle him in his words. And they sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true and teach the way of God truthfully, and you do not care about anyone's opinion, for you are not swayed by appearances. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? This was meant as a trap for Jesus. The Jews were under the control of the Roman Empire. Many Jews did not like paying taxes to their oppressors. So the Pharisees asked Jesus if it's lawful for a Jew to pay taxes to Caesar. If Jesus says yes, he's going to be in trouble with some Jews. They're going to call him a traitor. If he says no, he's going to be in trouble with some Roman soldiers. They're going to teach him a lesson. So how does Jesus respond? But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, "Why put me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin for the tax." And they brought him a denarius. And Jesus said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" They said, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard it, they marveled, and they left him and went away. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. So, you're allowed to have dual obligations. You can have obligations to human rulers and obligations to God. But if you pay attention to what Jesus is saying, this actually ties in with Genesis 1:27, where we saw that human beings are created in the image of God. Jesus says, "Show me the coin for the tax." The coin is a denarius. This is a denarius. It's got an image of Tiberius Caesar on it. Jesus says, "Whose image is this?" Caesar's. Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. What belongs to Caesar? That which bears his image, namely the denarius. Render to God what belongs to God. What belongs to God? That which bears his image, namely you. You bear God's image. So, give the government the coin and give yourself to God.
Biblical ethics stress that rulers and citizens are accountable to a higher moral law, ensuring that government acts justly and protects the vulnerable. Romans 13, 3-4.
Romans 13, verses 3-4. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. Rulers are supposed to be servants of God for the good of the people. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer.
These principles collectively shaped Western values like democracy, human rights, and constitutional government. That is why my message to you today, and the message of Courage.media, is to stress that responsible citizenship in the West is inseparable from Christian morality.
Whoa! Did you catch that last part?
Responsible citizenship in the West is inseparable from Christian morality.
Responsible citizenship in the West is inseparable from Christian morality. Don't be sad, atheists. Some of you still don't realize that you've already absorbed quite a bit of Christian morality. You just bought the lie that the values you absorbed are somehow normal for human beings, when they're not.
Please, let's aspire to build or restore the nation states on which our security depends. And let's ensure that they run as they used to on that Christian operating system without which we can have no moral compass. Thank you.
Let's make sure our nation states run on the Christian operating system, without which we can have no moral compass. This lady used to roll with Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris. If you've been depressed about the direction things have been heading, you should be encouraged that people like Ayan are breaking the spell. She was held captive by Islam, and she got out of it. Then she was held captive by the new atheism, and she got out of it. If this woman empowered by the Spirit of the Almighty, can break those kinds of psychological and spiritual chains. What business do you have looking at your city or your country and saying, it's too late for us? Moaning and wailing time is over. It's revival time now.